So today we're going to unlock a really powerful guide to inner peace. But forget the self-help books, forget the latest mindfulness app. This comes from a single 4-line poem written over 500 years ago by a Korean scholar. Does this feel familiar to you? That constant hum of anxiety in the background of modern life? You know, that feeling that you're always in a hurry, always being measured up against someone else, and somehow always coming up a little short. It's just exhausting, right?
Well, get this. This is not a new problem. A brilliant 16th century Korean scholar named Kim Inhu was feeling the exact same thing. And so on the night of the year's first full moon, he sat down and wrote a poem that, believe it or not, offers a way through all this noise. So let's dive in. All right, so the poem starts in a kind of surprising place, not with our feelings or our thoughts, but with the world around us. Lesson 1 is all about just looking, observing, and accepting the basic, unchanging rules of nature. Okay, here's our first line, in its original Hanja, which are the Chinese characters that have been adapted and used in Korean for centuries. And hey, for any of you out there who are curious about learning Korean Hanja, this is going to be fun. It's like building with Legos, but with ideas. Let's break it down. All right, let's crack this code together. Each character is one piece of a puzzle. We start with gal, pronounced go, meaning high. Then we have its opposite, di or jo, meaning low. Next up is sway, which means to follow. So what's following what? Well, they follow di, the land, and it's she, say, its shape or force. You can almost see the sentence building itself. High, low, follows the land's shape. And click, when you put those pieces together, you get this simple, profound truth. Highs and lows follow the shape of the land. The poet is just looking at the moon and noticing, hey, it looks higher or lower depending on the mountains and valleys. This isn't random, it's just a law of nature. It is what it is. Okay, let's move on to the second line. You can see how he's building his argument here, right? He's sticking with this theme of just observing the natural order of things. All right, let's decode this one too. You'll see a similar pattern. We start with another pair, hao zao for early and wan man for late. So where does this timing come from? The poem tells us it comes from, which is zi jia, the heavens, tian chen, and its time, shi zi. The meaning just snaps into place. Early or late comes from heaven's time. So the full thought is, being early or late comes from the timing of the heavens. You get it, right? You can't rush the moon. You can't make it rise any faster. The poet is laying down this fundamental truth. Some things are just completely out of our hands. And accepting that, well, that's the key to everything. Okay, so the poet has set the stage. He's established these unchangeable laws of nature. And now this is where it gets really interesting. He takes that exact same logic and applies it to the one place that feels the most chaotic, our own minds. Here's the third line. And boom, you can feel the shift immediately. We're not talking about mountains and skies anymore. Nope, we're talking about other people. This line is really the heart of the whole poem. We start with run, in, for people, and their yen, their words. But then comes this game-changing character, nari, ha, which is a question word, why? And the rest of the line asks, why are those words ashik, worthy of, what? Of shur, hyun, our worry. The line itself is a question being built before our eyes. People's words, why are they worthy of my worry? And there it is. What a powerful, liberating question, right? Why should the words of others be worthy of my worry? He's connecting the dots for us. He's basically saying, hey, you wouldn't get mad at the sky for the timing of the seasons, would you? So why on earth would you let other people's opinions and judgments totally destroy your inner peace? And this really presents us with a fork in the road. There are two ways to live. There's the swayed mind. It's always reacting, worrying about what people think, chasing things, full of envy. Then there's the unshakable mind. It trusts that natural order we talked about, it focuses inward, and it stays fair and calm. And it's pretty obvious which path the poet thinks we should take. So that sounds great, but how? How do we actually cultivate this unshakable mind? Well, the poet's not going to leave us hanging with some abstract idea. He gives us this concrete, beautiful image to hold on to, the very moon he's been watching this whole time. This is it, the fourth and final line. This is the master key that unlocks the whole poem. All right, last one. Let's break it down. The first two characters give us our image, myung, moon, and wol, moon, the bright moon. Simple enough. But what about the moon? Well, from its beginning, its origin, pon, it is mu. It is without. Without what? It is without awata, selfishness or private interests. The message is just so clear. The bright moon, from its very beginning, is without selfishness. And the full translation is just stunning. The bright moon from the beginning has no selfishness. Just think about that. The moon doesn't play favorites. It doesn't shine brighter on a king's palace than it does on a farmer's hut. It just shines on everything, equally. And that, the poet says, is our model. That is what our minds should strive for.
Now, this is a really important point. He's not talking about being cold or detached or emotionless, not at all. This enlightened state is about finding tranquility by letting go of ego, letting go of that constant, what about me? It's a state of clear, calm awareness where you can just observe the world without getting knocked off balance by every little judgment, inside or out. So you might be thinking, okay, that's a nice poem from the 1500s, but what does that have to do with my social media feed and my overflowing inbox? Well, it turns out his advice might be more relevant today than it has ever been. When you really boil it down, this 500-year-old poem gives us a kind of 4-step guide. Step 1, accept that some things are just beyond your control. Step 2, use the freedom that comes from that acceptance to stop needing everyone else's approval. Step 3, let go of the anxiety that comes from fighting against the natural flow of things. And finally, step 4, practice cultivating that impartial mind, just like the moon. And that's really what this beautiful piece of wisdom leaves us with. It's a question to take with you into your own busy life. In your world, with all its unique pressures and expectations, what would it actually look like for you to be like the moon?